Hi guys.
Hi everybody.
Today we are going to talk to you about what we think genuinely of our Sven Hedin. So we've had it for nearly 6 months now and 45 nights?
45 nights away we've had so far.
Yes.
And was it worth the 360 day wait, however many months it was?
You'll have to wait until the end of the video to find out. But I thought it would be really useful. We get asked this question all the time. So how's the Sven going? Do you like it? You know, what's it like compared to the Cali? All that kind of stuff. So we thought, now's the time. We need to do the video, don't we?
I think it's fair to say we've actually spent more nights away in this van so far in the last 6 months than we actually spent away in our T6.1 the entire time we had it.
Definitely. And maybe there's a clue there. But, so let's start with the real positives. So go on then, shoot. What do you think is a really good positive for you?
Fixed bed, but there's a double of that. Fixed bed and it's comfier.
Yeah.
So it's two things in one there.
Yeah.
So comfier than either of the California beds that we've had.
Yeah, it's got that big mattress, hasn't it? A nice big thick mattress.
Yeah, the same Frolly springs underneath as the 6.1 had, but that lovely big thick mattress that's probably a good 5 inches thick, I'd say, something like that.
Yeah.
It's so comfy, it really is. It's a lovely place to be.
Yeah, the pop out on the side for me, because I'm tall, obviously means that I can sleep crosswise in the van or crossways in the van. No issue at all with that.
And you're what, 6'1"-ish?
6'1", yeah.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It works so well. Never had any issue with the pop out. Haven't even had any condensation inside the pop out like some people do sometimes. But we haven't
had a proper winter yet, though, have we?
Have we?
March was cool.
Cool, but not sub-zero.
No.
It's perfect, really, size-wise for us inside. The width-wise of the bed at the back, sleeping side by side, it feels better as well than the Cali.
Well,
bed.
it's a double. It's basically the same size as a standard UK double bed. So smaller than what we've got at home, but absolutely fine.
Yeah. Perfectly
Pleasant place to be. And I think the other bit about that is we always used to try and make the California bed more comfortable. So messing about with things like toppers or self-inflating mattresses and things like that you then obviously got to firstly put up, but then put down again before you put the roof back down and things. So that kind of it's there whenever you're ready to crawl into bed. Dead easy. Notwithstanding obviously just putting the pop out, but that's literally about a 10 or 15 second job, and that's it, then done. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that aspect of it.
Massive positive. I think in terms of the other bits that the Sven, if we focus on the bits that are different about the Sven to other kind of just bigger vans in general, because we did a video before about, you know, is a bigger van better and all that kind of thing. That stuff's quite generic depending on what van you have. I think the things around the Sven that we like in particular, I really like the fridge. So the 2-drawer fridge where you can have the bottom drawer just full of all your drinks, and then the other, or the top drawer full of all of your food and other bits. I think that works brilliantly.
Yeah, and that's the way we've chosen to organise it, and I'm sure others would suggest different and possibly better ways to organise it, but it does work really well for us. And
they come all the way out, so you can see the whole drawer as well, so it's not as though you can only get it halfway and you're reaching down right at the back and stuff gets lost and things.
And it's a proper basket. So when you pull it open, it doesn't all just fall out the sides. It does actually hold it all in,
just
which
seems
is nice.
Like such a good idea and a good design. So yeah, that works really well.
And easy to access when you're outside the van as well. So if you're fortunate and the weather is pleasant, like it is today, it's easy access from either in or out of the van too. Yeah.
I think the storage aspect of the Sven is really well thought out as well. And a lot of people, when they look at the Sven, think, well, the kind of back's not finished, it's not got cupboards in the boot space, or, you know, it doesn't feel like it's got loads of storage. But actually, when you live with it, it's brilliant being a bit more open. So in the back of the Sven, underneath the bed, it's not built up with loads of cupboards down the sides. You've just got this big space. It's got some lashing down points in the floor if you want to tie stuff down. But because it's such a big space, it means that, you know, things like our Brunner table that we use outdoors, you can put it lengthways in the van no problem. If you wanted to put it widthways, you could put it no problem. You know, these big chairs that we've got here, these Isabella chairs, they go in their bag and they go lengthways underneath the bed, just standing upwards.
But equally, they could go widthways as well.
It's
just the way that we've organised that sort of boot area at the moment, isn't it?
And the fact that there isn't cupboards everywhere means that you can choose to use it however you want to, and that might mean that you need to buy some plastic boxes, or you might need to arrange things. We've just got a couple of funky baskets that we got from Etty's Field shop. And they work amazingly well. They're just nice baskets. You can fill them with your stuff, just stick them on the side. You can have them in and out in 5 seconds.
And they look pretty too.
And they look pretty too, because that's important when they're in the garage where nobody can see them.
Well, but they do, you see, because when you're staying on a caravan and motorhome club site, or as we are today on one of the affiliated sites, they're quite strict about how you pitch up on your site. Yeah. So if you're in a UK style van, so with your door on the passenger side, you can reverse onto your pitch. But if you're in a continental style van such as the Sven, you have to go in forwards, and that means that everybody on the campsite gets to see what's in your boot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, you never know when your boot's going to be inspected.
You don't know.
So you've got to make sure it's right.
Keep it trim and proper.
Exactly. But you know, the storage goes on from the boot alone. I mean, underneath the bench seat in the Sven,
that's handy. Is
really handy, because it's a nice big void where you can put lots of stuff. So we keep our Crocs in there, and
dog
kind of
towels
bits for the dog, and
dog mat, our little vacuum cleaner actually as well. So that stays in there.
So those kind of things being under the bench seat, where you'd normally end up with your Truma heater and everything, because this has obviously got different type of heating in the Sven, means that you haven't got all that space taken up with that, which just, again, logical, makes sense, really like it. And the bench seat obviously slides, which makes it more comfortable in the evenings as well. What we actually end up doing is we tend to, in the evenings, sit on the front seats turned round, but we tend to have the bench seat slid forward so we can put our feet on it, so we can reach it.
Yeah.
That seems to work fine.
Comfy.
We don't tend to sit on the bench seat very often, do we? But
laptop on the kitchen top for watching any Netflix or whatever that we want to have on, which is actually quite rare. But that might just be the 6 months we've had the van where the weather's been really good, so we've taken the opportunity to sit outside. But we tend to just listen to music, to be entirely honest, rather than necessarily trying to sort out the whole kind of big cinematic experience in the van. We haven't really felt the need to do that yet, but the next 6 months, so kind of dark, September through to, or October, November kind of through to February time, might feel a little more like we're pushed down that route.
I think when you've got longer nights in the van because it's dark, I think we need to think about more things like that. But it's certainly having that bit more space inside when it's raining or it's dark or whatever, having that bit more space inside, it's nice to be able to just stretch out a little bit more, and obviously not trip over the dog all the time, although she does seem to somehow make sure that she's
always in the way.
Always in the way.
She doesn't like being anywhere near your feet, which is quite problematic, because as soon as you move, she moves somewhere else.
That's true. That's true. I think the driving experience has been absolutely fine. It's not a sports car.
It's not going to set your hair on fire
it does get caught in the wind a little bit more than the Cali. You know, if you're driving around at 40, 50 mile an hour, you're not going to notice it. If you're doing 70 on a motorway and there's a gust of wind, it will move it slightly. Yeah. And it's a bit unnerving when we first got it, but I think we learned to live with it.
There's a side wind assist. And it's a little freaky when it cuts in, because you're like, what happened there?
It's like the ABS cuts in.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange, but I could feel it a little bit yesterday when I was driving over here. So today we're at a site over in Betsy Coed. I think I've said that correctly, over in Wales. So some fairly exposed national speed limit roads over the hills on the way here, in some quite blustery conditions actually. But no, it handles fine. Like I say, it doesn't feel too lumbering. You can keep up with the traffic.
Oh, it's got plenty of
the engine and the gearbox, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But it's not a sports car. But then it was never going to be, was it?
No, I think the things like the gearbox and stuff's smoother than the DSG. Pulls away nice and easily. You never feel like you're about to spin up the wheels or anything like that. It feels nice and easy to control. And handling wise, and just kind of generally being a bigger van, you don't really notice it that much. You obviously have to be mindful of it being a higher van, but actually driving it round, you know, pulling out of junctions, looking at where the curb is, those kind of things, because of the extra mirrors on the side, you can see all of that stuff, and it's always really straightforward.
Yeah, so makes life a lot easier.
Never felt too big yet at all. It's been absolutely fine. I think you know, in terms of how it's operating for us, because we've got some solar panels on the roof, and we've watched carefully how the leisure batteries are doing, all that kind of stuff. It's never felt as though we're about to run out of power, or we've certainly never had flat batteries or anything like that yet.
And I think we actually use a little bit less water than we generally think that we do.
Yeah.
Or we would do. So we went to Campervan a couple of months ago, so we had 2 nights completely off grid. Obviously both of us wanting a shower on 2 days, so that's 4 showers.
Yeah.
A lot of washing up. We had some excellent barbecues and various bits and pieces, using the hot water and bits and pieces like that. I think we still had about 40 litres when we got home out of the 100-litre tank. Yeah. So yeah, actually a lot more economical on the water than I actually thought. But I think that probably brings me on to one of the slight negatives of the van, or an improvement, should they do an upcoming model for 2025 based on the uplifted
I think they might be, yes.
On the newer Crafter, would be the option when you come to a campsite like this and you've managed to plug in to hook up, because you're paying for it, let's face it, is to be able to switch that diesel heater and diesel hot water heater over to electric. That would be nice to do, because it does feel a little bit, when you're sitting around watching all of these caravans who have paid the same price as the pitch as you have, who are going to be using their microwaves and their electric radiators and heaters and all that kind of stuff, that we're sitting there using our diesel that we've paid our 140 odd pence a litre for. So,
and let's be honest, the diesel heater does smell a little bit. So when you first start it up, if you turn the hot water on to warm up, or you turn the heating on, outside, you can tell that a diesel heater has just started to fire up. And if you're on a pitch next to somebody who's sitting in their awning or whatever, it's not
the most sociable of things, is it?
I mean, nobody's ever complained to us about it, but I feel a bit conscious of it. It's not the greatest, is it? You don't want to gas people out. Yeah. So yeah, the option of having electric heating and hot water would be good.
But I would much rather have diesel than gas.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. So in the kind of sliding scale of better, we're definitely middle to higher end, and it could just be an extra. That would be lovely.
And I would also definitely rather just have diesel like this, rather than have a Truma blown air heating system without the underfloor heating and everything else. I would definitely rather have the radiators.
There's
and
just
everything that we've
something
got. It's just a lovely warmth.
And you know, granted, we've not had to use it for a couple of months now, and we certainly didn't use it when we were in Europe. But that switching on your heating, not even bothering too much about switching on your radiators, but the underfloor, taking your shoes off when it's nice and warm, and just that warmth permeating through the van is just lovely. And
let's talk realistically here. So having come from having a couple of Californias before, you put the heating on the California overnight, it cuts in and out. So it ramps up, you can hear the fan ramping up, then it goes off, then it ramps up again, then it goes off. And if you're a light sleeper, it might wake you up. It used to wake me up a little bit during the night. So I'd kind of just half wake up, and you just think, the fan's
the
come
heater on again.
And it's just, you nod back off again, it's come on again.
Yeah.
When you've got radiators like this, you can tell the system not to use the fan assist whatsoever, so just the radiators come on, and you can't hear anything. It is just silent.
Yeah.
Even with obviously the diesel heater underneath the van outside is turning on and off to heat the water and everything. It's so far away from you, you just don't hear it.
No, it is beautifully silent. And I suppose the only downsides of it really is if we've got a dog that runs on hot, as our nearly 2-year-old border collie does, she runs on hot. I don't think she particularly enjoys the underfloor heating, so we do try not to because she's on the raised platform bit of the floor, that doesn't heat up. And there is the option to have the blown air coming off the radiator under the seat, and we switch that off.
I think it's her panting which wakes us up. We're still getting used to how much to turn the little dial for the underfloor heating.
And then when Will gets up in the mornings, he always gets up first, goes and sits in the sort of cab area, which is always cooler than down in the bedroom end. switches up the heating, and then basically cooks me out of bed, because the radiator that's under the foot end of the bed just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And I'm starting to get absolutely roasted. It's like, okay, now it's time for me to get up then, because I cannot stay here any longer.
I think the thing which has really surprised me the most about the van so far is just it's that feeling of space and having a toilet on board, and that kind of no stress element to having it. And again, that's not necessarily a Sven thing, that's a bigger van thing, but the no stress. So we were heading over here to Wales yesterday, we were looking at the weather, saw it was going to be raining overnight last night, and in California then, that would have been, do we put the outside wrap on the roof, do we put the awning out or not,
do we put the roof down,
do we put the roof down and sleep downstairs? There's all these decisions you have to make, whereas with this, it wasn't raining when we arrived on the pitch, so we just put the awning straight out, pegged it all down with the straps and everything, went out for a beer, came back, it started raining, we sat in the van, made sure the roof vents were shut, went to bed, didn't even think about it.
That was it.
Didn't even think about it, and it's the zero stress element of it.
I think for me as well, personally, I've never, ever, ever slept well the first night in a Cali. I don't know why. In a
Cali?
Yeah, well, a pop-top van. Basically, never ever slept well the first night. I think for me, there's a what's going on, what's happening, where am I? There's a lot of noises. The van might be moving around because it's windy. I'm under canvas. Am I cold? Am I hot? Just or maybe just a bit uncomfortable. Generally, is Will about to get up and kick me in the face? All of those things basically that just kind of go around. And it sounds like I'm dissing the Cali, and I'm not at all.
No.
We had some amazing times away in the Cali, and I loved it. And that canvas and being in a pop top is really, really magical, and there's something quite special about it. But I never slept well the first night at all. But in this, it's kind of like being at home. I hear it raining, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's raining. It's windy. Oh well, the van's moving around a bit, but I'm in a van. I'm not worrying about have we parked the van the right way around so that the roof's going to be safe. The driving rain coming towards it. Do I need to worry about where my bedding is? Is it touching the canvas? All of those kind of things that actually just mentally then just allow you to just switch off. Not worrying about it at all. I'm in a waterproof, secure area, and I'm warm and I'm comfy, and the bed is lovely. Yeah.
So I think the only other thing I'll mention, just on the positive side of things, you need to talk about some of the things which could be better, or they're more of a compromise.
So the heating as number one could be better if you could switch it over to electric.
Yeah, let's come on to that in one second.
Yeah.
So just the other thing, the shower in this, I have been so surprised about, because it is really good.
It is.
So I was expecting it to be, a bit kind of a dribble, and you never really feel like you've had a proper shower. Admittedly, if you have a proper shower in the van, there's not really enough hot water left in the cylinder for the next person who wants
it's a one-person shower.
You have to wait about half an hour.
If you want to have, for me to have a proper shower, wash my hair, condition my hair,
it's about an hour,
because
isn't it, in the shower?
It's not. Behave. Shampoo and conditioner, and all of us ladies know it's the conditioner that takes the long time to get out, and a lot of rinsing. It's nothing else that takes the time. It's getting the shampoo, getting the conditioner out of your hair.
Terrible, isn't it?
But it's a one-person shower then, until you've waited about half an hour to know that the hot water cylinder's heated fully back up again for him to go and get in. But we can share a cylinder. If I'm not planning on washing my hair that day, we can share a cylinder.
Yeah, you have to turn the shower off in between lathering up and then rinsing off and everything. And if you do that, you can get 2 people out of one lot of 10 litres of water. Yeah. Because the hot water cylinder in this is 10 litres. And but very surprised how good the shower is. And we've used it quite a few times, haven't we? When we do pub stopovers, and
or when you're on a campsite where you go and look at the facilities and you're thinking,
I'm not showering in there.
I'd much rather just stay in my van, thanks. I mean, there was one that the facilities looked lovely, but they hadn't got any heating. And it was April, I think, and it's like, you seriously want me to go and have a shower in there?
I'm going to use my heated shower tray and be in my van,
because it is heated shower tray alongside the heated floor.
It's so good. Right, so some of the things which could be better. Fuel economy. So we get 28.
I was going to say 30 if we're lucky.
Yeah.
If we're lucky.
So driving to Wales, it's 170 miles or whatever it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Lots of starting and stopping and rubbish
some
roads
motorways,
there,
some 40, 50 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour in Wales.
Joy sapping.
28 mpg.
Yeah.
When we went across Europe, it was about the same. It was a much less on the first leg, where we had to do 130 kilometres an hour, so about 80 mile an hour, all the way for about 5 hours to get to the first campsite, and then it did about 22.
That was all the way from Calais down to Freiburg in the Black Forest.
So coming from a four-wheel drive Calais, so a 4Motion 204 Calais DSG, which used to do 35-ish, something like that, 32 to 35, something like that. I don't think we drive this really hard, and it's doing 26 to 28.
But it's heavier, it's wider, it's taller, isn't it?
All expected. I'm not complaining about it because we knew it was going to be more. But every time you go and fill it up and it's another 100 quid on diesel, another 100 quid, another 100 quid, it just...
Yeah, but he doesn't mind spending 30 quid on beer at a pub.
That's what she keeps reminding me. I'm paying for all of it. I don't know what. Anyway, so fuel economy could be better, couldn't it? But,
yes, but I think it is what it is.
It is what it is. I think when we're on campsites or when we go on our little trips away, I think we've subtly changed what we're doing. And I think I think it's subconscious actually. So I think now we tend to arrive on a campsite, park the van, and then go and explore, leaving the van where it is. Whereas I think in the Calais, we treated it a bit like a car. So we'd be on a campsite and then think, right, should we go out and explore? So we'd get in the Calais and then go and drive round. Whereas now we're being a bit more selective about where we're going on the campsites. So it's got stuff we can walk to, or there's public transport nearby, or there's things that we can explore from the van as a base. And I don't know whether that's just because we're actually enjoying having a drink a bit more.
I think there's a couple of reasons behind it.
Or whether that's because the van's bigger, I'm not quite sure.
I think we're just enjoying actually having a drink a little bit more, not worrying about having to drive. Firstly. Secondly, the van's a bit bigger, takes a little bit more thinking about and planning as to where you're going to park. And, we are in the school holidays at the moment. Touristy places are busy. And trying to find that Goldilocks space in the pay and display car park or whatever that A, has got a barrier that that you'll be able to get under the height restriction for, and B, has that lovely little parking space with a little bit of overhang onto a verge or something like that. You can't be that picky when it's busy. But actually, how much nicer is it to just be in a campsite that's literally 200 yards down the road? You've got eateries, bars, lovely walks on the doorstep, takeaways, clothes shopping, the whole deal. And actually, why would you want to stay on a campsite properly in the middle of nowhere in some respects if your thing to do is more to go and see things and do things and experience rather than necessarily wilderness? And I think you can probably say that we're definitely in that camp rather than the wilderness exploring.
Yes, although I suppose and that a lot of that will bring people to a natural conclusion of why have we got a camper van rather than a caravan, because you could just have a car and a caravan if you're just going to use it as a base. And I think it's more about the thought of the holidays like the one that we did in Europe, where you're moving between sites quite frequently. And if we were going to go and do the NC 500, or we're going to do something where you're touring around and moving about, actually having a van to be able to do the moving about, you've got something high up you can do good sightseeing from, you can stop by the side of the road, use the toilet and all that kind of stuff. And then when you get to a site, if you're there for 2 nights, if you're there for a night, obviously you're off again the next day, but if you're there for 2 nights, you're able to then leave it there, go and do a bit of exploring and things, back to the van, use it as a base, off again the next day. It's actually, I still think that's, in our opinions, suits us better to have it as a van rather than as a caravan.
Well, and for the next 6 months that we've got coming up, so over that autumn, winter, early spring period, caravanning becomes a little more tricky because
you've got to get all year round campsites.
You've got to find campsites that are all year round, whereas campervan, motorhome, whatever, that kind of idea, pub stopovers, all of those kind of things open themselves up to you. So that sneaky weekend away that's quite unplanned can actually just be a really nice little break. And you can string those nights together. You could go and have 2, 3, 4, 5 nights away doing pub stopovers in places, and just because it's the winter, the camping doesn't have to stop.
Yeah.
That to us is that difference between campervan and caravan. I've never yet found a pub that will let you stay in your caravan and pitch up your caravan overnight in the pub car park. There probably are some, but it most definitely is a yes when it's a campervan and you know you've got all of your facilities on board. There's no kind of putting the feet down on your caravan and all of that kind of stuff and trying to move it onto a pitch and things like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what we've not really done a massive amount of yet in this van because of when we picked it up. So we've done a few, but actually it's ended up being those slightly longer breaks where it's nice to find a campsite and actually just chill out for a couple of days.
That's true.
Alongside our bigger Europe trip that we did a month or two ago.
Yeah, I think everything else on the van, doesn't really feel like it's too much of a compromise. We've talked about the size and the kind of general running costs of it and everything. I think the insurance was slightly more than the Cali, not a massive amount more, but I think
given the fact that we sold the Cali at the end of 2022, and we didn't pick this up until March 24, insurance had gone up a good amount by then anyway.
It's too different. Obviously, the price of the van is slightly more, so that definitely needs to be considered as part of all of that. Although for a very well spec Cali and like the one that we had, that was near to the price of this.
If there hadn't been a decent Volkswagen discount in the offing anyway.
So I think generally there's really not a lot to complain about at all on the Sven. I think in terms of issues we've had, very, very few. So we had the plug for the sink in the kitchen, which the bottom fell off it. The pin.
It's a plug with a little metal pin in it.
As a guide.
And it was very stiff, actually. And I pulled it out one day and the pin stayed in. No, the pin stayed in. And Will didn't manage to get the pin out before I put the plug back in. And the plug then just forced the pin straight through the other side into the trap.
So there's a trap on the bottom you can take off, take the pin out and everything. And they sent us a new plug and everything. That's not a problem.
Yeah. It's not as stiff.
No. The outside air temperature when you're camping, on the little display panel inside above the door, it's got a little outside temperature. And that outside temperature is rubbish. It basically never really reads the right temperature, does it?
37 degrees. Like, crikey, we're in Barbados or something.
Never really read the right temperature. It just is what it is. That's fine.
Take it for what it is. You just look out the window and you see what temperature it is.
No, we've decided to put some Victron Energy monitoring stuff in here for the solar and for the batteries and everything, because the basic control panel that Westfalia give you, it just gives you the voltage, and it's a single voltage, so it's not, because it's got two leisure batteries, it doesn't tell you about each individual battery. It just gives you a voltage and says, if it's below, I think it's 11.7 or something, then it's absolute, you must charge the batteries. If it's 13.1, then they're fully charged, and anything in between is kind of unhelpful. It's really, it doesn't tell you how long they'll last, it doesn't tell you what current they're charging at, or it's just really basic. And I think the new control panels that they're putting in, the facelifted model of the Sven when it comes out, and the Columbus and those kind of things, they've sorted all of that, so it's all next gen stuff. So we put some Victron Energy stuff in there to help with all of that, which is fine. That's no issue really. Be nice if it came with a longer warranty than 2 years, and the option to buy a longer warranty.
So the difficulty is, because it was originally sold in Germany, you can't just do the normal MAN extended warranty. So you've got a warranty for 2 years, but then you can't do a third year, but then you could do a fourth and fifth or something. There's something very strange about it. So
it is
that's a little frustrating.
It is what it is, unfortunately, but that's okay. We don't mind too much. Well, hopefully don't mind, as long as nothing serious goes wrong. Very, very, very happy with it.
Yes.
Very happy with it.
Indeed.
Would we recommend it to anyone who's got a Cali at the moment?
Yes.
Yes, just depends what you're looking for. As long as you're prepared to have a van which is a metre longer and whatever it is, half a metre
higher or something.
2.8, isn't it, this? Then obviously be prepared for the physical size of it. Build quality wise and everything else feels OEM. I mean, it feels so good. Well screwed together, built to last. Yeah,
the only things that rattle are the things that we put in it.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Whenever there's a rattle, it's not what's wrong with the van.
Who's put the saucepans back wrong, or the plate.
It's exactly that.
cutlery
exactly
drawers, a disaster.
Yeah. No, it's been fantastic from a build quality point of view. It really, really has.
Yeah,
And we love it to bits. Really do. We're really looking forward to bringing you more content from the van. Hopefully this little kind of piece to camera about what we think of it and how we're getting on with it after 45 nights is helpful for you. We love all of the comments that you put on the videos. We love you asking us questions and seeing how we're getting on. So please keep them coming. Make sure you comment on this video down below with anything that you want to know about the Sven, how we're getting on, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Or anything you want us to show you.
Yeah.
Quite happy to do that as well.
Very happy to do that. And if you've got any suggestions of things that we should be testing out, things that we've not either shown on the channel or thought, actually that would be a really good idea, please do let us know about that as well. Because we're always, you know us, we're always on the lookout for gadgets, aren't we, to try.
Yeah.
So there you go then. Hopefully that's been helpful for you. Please like and subscribe to the channel. You know how much it helps us. Helps us bring you this kind of content. And we'll see you again soon for some more
Campervan Time.